Have you ever felt like you've lost a part of yourself? Like the person you see in the mirror is a stranger, a shadow of who you were meant to be? This is the story of a girl who forgot her own name and how she found her way back. In the sun-drenched, bustling city of Mombasa, there was a young woman named Zawadi. Her name means gift in Swahili, and for a long time, she truly was. Her voice in worship could stir the coldest hearts. Her prophetic words felt like a direct line to heaven, and her spoken word poetry was pure fire. She was authentic, raw, and powerful. But the world has a way of dimming the brightest lights, doesn't it? Slowly, almost without noticing, Zawadi began to drift. She got entangled in a relationship with a rising gospel influencer, a man whose world revolved around likes, views, and applause. He saw her gift not as something sacred, but as a tool to build his brand. He called her his muse, but what he really wanted was a puppet. And Zawadi, hungry for a different kind of validation, started to trade her truth for his applause. The girl who once danced barefoot in the rain, singing psalms to the sky, found herself walking in painful heels through smoky studios. She rehearsed lines that weren't hers, her powerful spoken word becoming shallow and predictable. Her prayers felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling, echoing back empty and hollow. She was being unfaithful, not to a man, but to the very essence of who she was. The silence from heaven was deafening, a stark contrast to the roar of the fake crowds. She had become a performer, and in the process, she had forgotten she was a gift. Then, one day, something shifted. A disruption appeared in her perfectly curated, yet utterly broken life. Her name was Neema, a young street girl who couldn't speak a word, with eyes that burned with an ancient wisdom. Neema followed Zawadi not with judgment, but with a silent, persistent presence. One afternoon, she handed Zawadi a small, cracked mirror and a hastily scribbled note. It had just 2 words: look deeper. When Zawadi looked into that broken mirror, she didn't just see her tired, made-up face. She saw fragments of a life she'd left behind. She saw a little girl in a village prophesying over her dolls. She saw herself on her knees, making vows to God that she had since broken. She saw the raw, unfiltered passion she used to pour into her poems. The mirror wasn't just reflecting her image, it was reflecting her soul, and it was shattered. This encounter with Neema was the jolt Zawadi needed. It was like waking up from a long, terrible dream. Haunted by flashbacks of her past and stirred by Neema's silent, unwavering gaze, Zawadi began a painful journey of rediscovery. She broke off the toxic relationship, stepping away from the influencer who had tried to mold her into his image. The withdrawal was brutal. The silence of her apartment, once filled with the buzz of social media notifications, was now a space for confrontation. She isolated herself, not to hide, but to heal. In the quiet darkness of her room, with only a pen and paper, she began to write again. But this time, it wasn't for an audience. It wasn't for applause. It was for herself. Raw, gut-wrenching spoken word pieces poured out of her, filled with the pain, the regret, and the desperate yearning to find her way back. Her name, Zawadi, which had become a bitter reminder of what she'd lost, now became her battle cry. It was a promise she had to reclaim. The climax of her journey arrived on a stormy Sunday, the kind of day in Mombasa where the heavens open up and wash the city clean. Trembling but resolute, Zawadi walked back into Mwangaza church, the place where her gift had first blossomed. The youth group, the same faces she had once inspired, were gathered. They looked at her with a mixture of confusion and curiosity. As the rain hammered against the roof, creating a natural drumbeat, Zawadi stepped onto the stage. No fancy lights, no backing track, just her and a microphone. She took a deep breath and began to deliver a new spoken word piece, one she had written in the darkest hour of her rediscovery. Its title was, When She Forgot Her Name. Her voice cracked at first, fragile and thin. But then, as she spoke her truth, it grew stronger, richer, filled with the fire that had been dormant for so long. She spoke of the temptation of fame, the ache of a silent spirit, and the heartbreaking journey of a girl who traded her birthright for a bowl of digital porridge. Tears streamed down her face, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of cleansing, of release, of ignition. Something broke in that room. It wasn't the sound of applause. It was the sound of weeping. Young people fell to their knees, not in adoration of Zawadi, but in deep, personal repentance. Her raw honesty had held up a mirror to their own compromises, their own forgotten names. A wave of genuine revival swept through the church, more powerful than any staged performance could ever be. In that moment of glorious, messy redemption, Zawadi looked for Neema in the crowd, but she was gone. The only trace of her was the small, cracked mirror left on an empty chair, now mysteriously whole and glowing with a soft light. Zawadi, her name no longer a burden but a banner, was found again. She was home. This story reminds us that our true identity, our gift, is the most precious thing we have. It's easy to lose it in the noise of the world, in the chase for approval, or in the reflection of someone else's expectations. But no matter how far we drift, the journey back to ourselves is always possible. It might be painful, it might require silence and solitude, but reclaiming your name is the greatest comeback story you will ever live. What's your name? What is the gift you are born to share? Don't let the world make you forget it. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this space with me today. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content that speaks to the heart. And share in the comments, what does your name mean to you? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember who you are.